What is going on, Cardano community? Welcome back to the official Dapp Central YouTube channel. I'm your host here, Fareed, and in today's video, I want to break down some recent news and an article that was just released by the Aada Finance team. If you guys are not familiar with Aada Finance, over the course of the past few weeks, they've garnered quite a bit of attention. They're going to be a DeFi protocol being built on Cardano, supporting lending and borrowing throughout the ecosystem. And so they're going to be moving from a peer-to-peer platform to a peer-to-pool, in which they've released two articles, which we've already broken down one of them surrounding their migration to peer-to-pool and their integration of Icon. And so in today's video, I want to talk about the fees as well as the Oracle features that are going to be coming to their peer-to-pool protocol. And so if you guys are not already following them on Medium, I recommend that you guys go ahead and do so. And so to kick off the article, it states, fees and oracles are fundamental for achieving permissionless and genuine decentralization. Here's what you need to know about the way that fees and oracles will work on Aada version number 2. So as a part of this upgrade, they're going to be splitting out the protocol, which will be executing the smart contracts, and the user interface. So two of the most crucial elements of every pooled lending are going to be decentralization and liquidity. Decentralization will focus on the fact that no single actor has control over the platform, and liquidity will ensure that trades can actually take place on the protocol. In this regard, Aada Finance's V2 aims to tackle the dilemma by splitting the app into two separate entities. The first entity will be the protocol, which, as I mentioned earlier, will execute smart contracts as well as interact with liquidity pools and token holders, whereas the second portion of the protocol will be the user interface, or the app.aada finance website, and their batching mechanism. Now, if you're wondering why they're splitting both of these two parts out here, they're going to talk about that here in just as well. So it states the split will enable users to interact with the smart contracts without the need to access the app's interface. Using this method will be cost-free and only network fees will apply. So think of this as two separate layers. Right now, when you access, for example, a website like google.com, normally people do that within their Chrome or their internet browser, whether it's Edge, whatever browser you may have. With that, you get a simplified user interface where you can type in any searches within the Google search page. Now, you can still access Google through a command line. While it's a little bit more tech savvy, or it requires a little bit more technical knowledge, it is available. So the same will apply here with Aada Finance. You can still access the app user interface through the official website, but you can still interact with the protocol and the smart contracts behind that if you want to directly. And so jumping back in the article here, of course, using the V2 interface will allow for a more user-friendly interaction. In turn, the user interface will charge operating fees, mostly for batching and updating Oracle data, while the protocol will adopt a more complex fee system and its parameters will be liable to changes through governance. So it looks like when it comes to the user interface, they're going to be charging fees for batching, whereas with the protocol or with the smart contracts, they're going to be charging network fees, but they also look like they'll be able to vote in terms of governance as to some of the fees and exactly how those are calculated on the protocol. Now, it says here at the very bottom, disclaimer, the protocol fees will be a flat 0% until reaching decent liquidity. So if you're looking to really save as much as you can, if you're performing a lot of swaps or trades or just interactions using the Aada Finance V2, it looks like it might be well worth it to actually learn how to use the command line or how to interact directly with the protocol or the smart contracts as opposed to doing it through the user interface. Now, keep in mind here that if you're going to be doing this, that because it requires a little bit more complexity, you have to make sure that you're doing things as exactly it would be done if you were to use the user interface. So you want to make sure that you know what you're doing if you're going to take this more complex route. But again, if you're going to be performing a lot of swaps or a lot of trades on the platform, then it does make sense potentially to learn how to do that, because you'll be saving on those batcher or front end fees when you're using the user interface. Now, I also want to talk about the Oracle, which, if you guys are not familiar, will just be a way for the protocol to get accurate price data as well as off-chain data, which may be real things that occur in the real world, onto the actual protocol. So oracles play an integral role in every lending and borrowing protocol's operation, but to ensure that they're resilient and efficient, they must be decentralized. In this regard, Aada V2 will introduce operator-free oracles that remove the need for third parties to operate them for the protocol to function. So they're not going to be leveraging somebody like C3, somebody like OrcFax, which is basically a third-party platform, right? And all their job is to do is to grab the price data for whatever assets are as collateral or are the borrowable tokens on Aada Finance and provide that over to the protocol. So Aada Finance is looking to cut those middlemen out and actually provide a operator-free Oracle system. So I want to talk a little bit about this and exactly how that's going to work. And so it states here that every token will have its own Oracle NFT stored in Oracle_validator.ak. The NFT will have data parameters associated with it, but the key ones are going to be the token price and the expiration time, which we're going to talk about here in just a second. Third, every NFT will mirror the pool NFT on a particular DEX. And in this example, they're going to be using MinSwap. And so what we can expect is that the NFT, right, which is going to have the expiration as well as the token price, will be updated anytime that a user interacts with it. And so as a part of that, the NFT will be sent back to the same smart contract and a new expiration time will be set for no more than 10 minutes from the current time. So we would expect that the price data gets updated every 10 minutes or every time that a person interacts with this particular NFT. Now it states here at the very bottom, the price is only updated according to the value shown by the mirror NFT on the DEX. So in other words, it's non-modifiable. And so again, if I take a look here, what we're going to have is going to be this user here that can interact with this update Oracle transaction. We're now going to have the Oracle NFT that's stored here, which again is going to be passed as input as well as output every time that a user interacts with this update Oracle transaction. Now, every time that they interact with that, this particular NFT here, which has the token price and the expiration time associated with it, will actually look over at the MinSwap pool in order to pull whatever current price is for that token. And so every 10 minutes, right, which is going to be the expiration time, that action will take place. Or if users are checking on it more frequently, that will be updated. And so a really cool feature here, which I don't think has been done yet on Cardano, but I'm excited to see exactly how it works. Now, one thing that I think could make this a little bit more robust would be to see if we could maybe check more than one particular DEX and maybe use an aggregated price between the two DEXs, as opposed to just using or relying on one particular protocol, which in this case, they're talking about potentially using MinSwap. Now, ultimately, everyone can update the NFT price, getting an accurate price from the underlying DEX. Last but not least, the pool and collateral contracts will ensure that the Oracle NFT is still valid by refreshing its price and expiration date. So that's what I mentioned there before. Every 10 minutes or however frequently people are using or interacting with whatever token that you're looking for, that update Oracle transaction will be executed, therefore updating the token price for everybody on the platform, as well as the expiration time by at least 10 minutes. So you should never have a price that's outdated. And hopefully, again, this operator-free model will be sustainable moving forward. And so that's going to really be it there when it comes to talking about the fees, which, as I mentioned before, are going to be split in two separate ways. The first is going to be the user interface, and the second is going to be for the underlying protocol. And then we talked a little bit about the Oracle and the fact that they're going to be using NFTs and a mirroring system looking at a particular DEX. Now, the last thing I want to touch on here is going to be the fact that we recently had some voting take place on Aada Finance, and we had two options as a part of the fifth governance vote. And so the first request was to add CNETA, which is going to be the native governance token for the Aada BTC protocol, which is going to be a platform providing wrapped Bitcoin on Cardano as a collateral option. The second proposal was to add the NTX token or the NewNet token as a borrowable asset on the protocol. Now, as you guys can see here, the proposal to add the NewNet token as a borrowable option has passed with a 97% yes vote, and that has currently been implemented, whereas the proposal to add CNETA as a collateral option has unfortunately been struck down with only a 37% yes vote and a majority of 62% for no. So that has not been implemented. Now, what I've noticed here on a lot of these DeFi protocols, especially that implement governance, is that the option to add collateral normally has a much harder time passing because people may not want to receive the underlying token in the event of a liquidation, whereas the options or the votes surrounding adding new borrowable options do normally pass because people want to borrow those assets. So unfortunate that we're not seeing CNETA being added there as a collateral option. But what will be interesting is the fact that on April 20th, we will see the CNETA platform release their testnet, which will allow for us to bring CBTC or wrapped Bitcoin over to Cardano. So I'm going to be keeping an eye out to see if there's going to be a new proposal to add CBTC as collateral or even a borrowable option here on Aada Finance, which I personally think will pass. So we'll have to see about that, but I'll definitely keep you guys here updated when that occurs. That is going to bring us to a close here for today's update surrounding the Aada Finance protocol and their upcoming transition over to peer-to-pool, as well as the recent look at their 5th governance vote. If you guys found today's video to be helpful or insightful in any way, shape, or form, I would really appreciate it if you guys could tap that like button. If it's your first time stopping by the channel and you want more content just like this, consider subscribing. And if you guys have any questions for me surrounding Aada Finance or Cardano in general, then make sure to leave those down in the comment section below. That said, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video.